Hi, my name is Serena. I'm the social media manager at Napa Valley One Academy. Today we have Stephen Steppo here. He's part of the team that designed TasteCoach, our new tasting tool that will help our students pass their tasting exam. So hi, Stephen, would you like to introduce yourself and also this exciting new product?
Hi Serena, I am an instructional designer with Napa Valley Wine Academy, and I helped develop our new Taste Coach kits, which, as you mentioned, do help people pass their exam, improve their tasting ability, but also they're there for enjoyment as well, just to try a diverse range of wines.
Yeah, look at this. I love this little design. It's kind of as big as my face. It's a size, but I believe like per vial is for two tasting sets, right?
Yeah. So 100 mil, so just over 3 ounces, and so that gives you two tastes basically per vial. So you can practice for the first one and then practice again with the second taste, or you could split it between two people, or you can just enjoy the second taste as well.
This is pretty interesting. Can you tell us about the inspiration behind the taste coach?
Yeah, certainly. So the brainchild was really from our director of learning, Janet Casey. She's both an educator, a background in education, plus she's got an immaculate wine knowledge as well. So she thought of this years ago as a way to really address a number of problems that students have, particularly for someone like me that lives in a rural area. So there's a lot of problems that you have when you're a wine student. The ability to taste through a broad range of wines and even sourcing those wines can be really difficult. Um, and sometimes if you're sourcing them, you actually don't want to know what they are. So having someone that you can trust to actually choose wines for you so that you can taste them, particularly when they're blind and you don't actually know what they are, that can be a really powerful experience. So if you know what they are, it's sort of you go in sometimes with some ideas in mind. Um, but also, I mean, the software's there so that you do get feedback. So you're effectively tasting with an expert taster. Um, so yeah, I really think it helps bridge the gap for people who if you don't have someone to study with, or you need wines to study with people, but particularly if you can't source wines. And of course, it's really there to help improve tasting ability as well. So it's there as a tool to really help people.
I love that. So I know that we come with the white kit and red kit and the rose kit. I love the color of the rose kit because I know like come with 6 bottles per package. And I just love the color shows the different kind of rose. I believe is from different kind of like places and use different methods to produce it. So who can be the target students or audience for this taste coach? Is this specifically for people who are preparing for their tasting exam?
I think for first and foremost, anyone that enjoys wines, I think, would enjoy these kits because you're getting a diverse range of wines to try. Um, Most people that love wine love to try different things, and you're going to get that with this. But at this stage, it's really beyond that. We've really geared it towards those WSET students. We have our walkthrough pathway, which is available for levels 2, 3, and 4, and then our exam prep, which is a bit like a blind tasting exam for our levels 3 and 4. And so we've used the WSET systematic approach to tasting to sort of tailor the software for
Hmm.
that. But realistically, it can cater to those who are not wine students as well. I've finished my diploma and I have no intention of doing the Master of Wine exam. But for me, I spend a lot of time and money, getting a good palate. So I don't really want to lose that. So for me, having, being able to just taste some wines, do it well, do it thoughtfully means I'm not going to, lose my ability and helps keep me sharp. And I think for other credentials, it can be really helpful as well. But, first and foremost, just for those that enjoy wine, I think it's a really great little kit.
Yeah, myself, I also just finished my level 3. And then when I was doing private study at home, I feel like extremely not confident about the tasting exam because I didn't know that like I would have a lot of practice eventually. But when I was reading the chapter of how to get through SAT, it would be amazing to have just a wine kit with me and then just practice the SAT approach with the teachers. So I think like for level 3 student, that would be a great like practice experience just at home. Then you have this ability to, in your like cozy, being cozy at home, but also taste this wine with the instructor. I'm more curious about, I know for diploma, right? Almost every unit probably will come with the exam. So for them, how can they use different kind of kit with white, red, and rosé to help them kind of pass the tasting part of the exam?
I mean, so much of being able to taste is being able to isolate each of those components, that are on a systematic approach to tasting to really pull apart that wine. And so what we've done with this kit is enabled students to be able to do just that. So we've got different pathways, but at the end of the day, being able to really hone in on each of those components, hone in on that acidity, that tannin, that alcohol, the aroma characteristics, and really be thoughtful about it, I think can be really helpful for people to improve their tasting ability, find out what they're doing well at and what they perhaps need to improve at.
I see. So now I'm curious though. So how the team choose the wines? So what is there any role behind it, or like is that representative enough for those exams and if I want to just taste?
So, as you know, we've got a pretty crack team of wine experts at Napa Valley Wine Academy HQ. So, they put their heads together on this. As you mentioned, each kit has a theme, and so we've stayed within that theme. But beyond that, we've been really diverse, within that theme. So, for the rosé kit, for example, we've got a whole heap of different styles. They've all got diverse structures, come from different places,
Yeah, like
and
this.
so most people who drink rosé, you get a lot of Provence or a lot of Provence style. And we've gone out of our way to do a whole heap of different styles. I'm not going to tell you what's in the kits because we don't want you to know till after you've tasted them. But we've been really careful about making sure it's a really diverse range within that actual theme. On top of that, we've made sure that the quality levels there is a diverse range as well. So you know there are some outstanding wines. There are some acceptable wines, at those quality levels. What we haven't done is gone and sourced wine, bulk wine, and then repackaged them. We have actually gone and got recognized, you know, bottles of wine from recognized wineries that you could actually purchase if you wanted to.
So when we purchase the wine, it's like a blind tasting. Like we won't know what inside it, but eventually we'll get the answer on our websites. Or how do we find and like eventually get the answer?
So we've actually built this new piece of software. So it depends on how you want to taste, and that's one thing we've done with this. It enables you to taste in a couple of different ways to really hone in on what you actually want to improve at. But we've created like some software, and so when we get our crack team, they do the tasting and write really authentic notes, and then we basically plug that into our software. And so students are able to get feedback that way. So it's really interactive. You're actually going back and forth with the software to put in your, what you're tasting, and you're getting feedback on that.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. So how do I use the software? Let's assume that I receive this file at home, and then what will be the next step? How do I interact with the instructors and improve my tasting skills?
Sure. So, we've got some instructions there, some stuff to read through to make sure, you sort of know what you're doing. And then we've got two actual different pathways. And so one of those is our walkthrough pathway. Would you like me to? I can show you if you like.
Sure,
Sure.
absolutely.
Let me click some buttons. So basically, when we get this, we're going to have two different options or two different ways that we'd like that we're going to taste. So for those of us that want
Yes.
to go component by component and really break it down, low pressure style, we have our guided walkthrough. So that enables us, like I said, to sort of really separate each of those components and receive instant feedback on each of the tasting note components. For those that are really preparing for an exam and really want to put themselves under some pressure, we have our exam prep. So let's check out the walkthrough.
Sure.
And I know that you just did level 3, so let's click on
Yeah,
that.
let's do level three.
You'd start off with some instructions on, sort of pouring the wine and how long it generally takes most
Yes.
people. And once you're ready to start, you click next. And so this may be familiar to you. So when we are tasting a wine, we always start with our appearance, which you can see up here, and we look at our intensity and color. We then would move on to our nose when we have our intensity and our aromas,
Aroma,
our
yes.
palate, and then our conclusions and so forth. So I like this page because you can see all the different components of the palate. So when we start with our palate, we generally look at sweetness first. This gives us a little bit of advice on, how we should assess sweetness. Um,
Yes.
and say if we forgot, our language that we're meant to use for the SAT, we do have the grid right there to help out as well, which can be helpful.
This
But
is
so if we get
great.
our wine, we'd have a taste and we'd assess the sweetness. And so, say we taste a wine and we say it's dry, we plug in our answer, whatever your answer happens to be, and then we click and check our answer. As you can see, the instructor answer is also dry.
Oh,
So I was accurate here, I was correct, and I was pretty confident as well. Now, why we do that, we want to rate our accuracy so that at the end we can look back on what we're accurate at, what we were quite close at, need maybe a little work, and what we probably were not close at, what we really need to focus on. With the confidence thing,
I love that. Yes, I love that. I love that accuracy you also put it very close because I know for sweetness it's dry, but like for acidity, when people think it's high acidity, sometimes people think it's a like medium plus. So being able to have this option very close instead of just like wrong, it's great because everyone tastes differently. And during the exam as well, you it's okay. It's a little bit different from the instructor.
yeah, I mean, this really does help you calibrate. So, knowing
Yes,
that you're close means you've still got a little work to do to be, calibrated to the WSET standards, but it means that you're close, and that's really important. If you're really a long way away, that means you've got more work to do on that particular component,
I
particularly if it's
see.
a theme. If you're finding that you weren't close at all for across all the wines for say acidity, like you mentioned, you know that you need to spend more time working on the acidity.
I
With the
see. Yeah.
confidence thing, sometimes we're confident about things, but we're actually not as so great at them, and it's going to reflect that. And other times, sometimes, we're not so confident on something that we're actually good at. So if we get to the end, we're like, wow, I was great at alcohol, but I didn't actually really rate myself. I didn't wasn't really confident. It's going to reflect that as well. We then move on to our acidity after that. And so again, we're now separating that acidity and calibrating to that.
I like it a lot because after the like with taste coach, it's kind of helped me identify which component that I'm the weakest on it. Because I think I'm pretty good at sweetness. I'm just always a little bit off on acidity, but knowing that I can just keep practicing and then focus on improving my acidity, just that part
Yeah.
instead of just doing the whole evaluation.
So then the other side we sort of talked about was putting yourself under that exam pressure. So it's less about that calibration, less about that, component by component, and more about actually putting a full tasting note together and then getting feedback at the end. So for this, we actually want you to go put yourself under exam conditions. Have a timer set to taste all the wines one after the other, and even write them down on that blank piece of paper, like you would on an exam. So let's check that one out. So let's jump to level 4 for this one. So some instructions there,
Sure.
which you'd read through, of course, and make sure you're prepared and ready to go. And so once you've written everything down, so you don't actually want to just sort of taste along with this, you actually want to have everything, tasted, written down. You then score your notes. So we click score my notes, and basically you then plug in exactly what you wrote down. So you take your sheet and say you said it was medium, and you said the color was, let's say it's a rosé, was pink orange. Moving on, you'd have your nose. So let's say medium. I'm just strawberry, raspberry. Maybe I missed pomelo, but I did get melon and peach, and look, I got apricot as well. So that's our nose. Then we have our palate. So let's say dry. Um, let's say we wrote nothing for tannin. Great. And so we'd leave that particular part because remember, some wines don't have tannin, so we're not going to talk about it for those that don't. Um, I'm just going to click randomly through here so we can jump to the end.
Sure.
Now finish. And then we've got our quality statement. So for this one, we're looking at our blick, our balance, our length, our intensity, and our complexity. For those who are doing diploma for level 4, you do need to make sure that when you write things down, that you actually wrote an explanation, that you provided, some explanation for why it was balanced or why it wasn't, why it had length or why it wasn't, and so on. So um, let's say this is good. Um, let's say I did explain my balance and I said it did have balance. Let's pretend I said it didn't have length, and I explained why. And let's say that I didn't say anything about intensity or complexity, so we'll leave that and some context. And then let's say not for bottle age. So yeah, a bit about our bottle aging because I do want to show you the end part. And there we have our answer at the end. So we do have the answer as well for our walkthrough at the end. Now, if we do get a wrong answer, we can of course click on our speech bubbles and it tells us what the answers actually were. So we can scroll down and check that out. You can see we have a final result there, and we'd be able to actually print that out as a PDF as well.
It is great because I know that per vial, it's like a two tasting set. So you can use one for guided workthrough, one for exam prep. The other thing you can do is that you use the same wine, right? And then you taste today and come back taste tomorrow. So probably you will feel like differently, and then you can really focus on where to improve. So yeah, definitely. I think it's a great tool, especially for me. Like, I just took level 3 and I'm considering taking level 4. So I see the platform allows me to jump into another level and to use their level. So I think that's also great. I can just kind of pre-practice before I really jump into the journey of diploma.
Certainly, yeah.
Wow, yeah. Thank you, Stephen. That's a great introduction about the taste coach. And then I want to let people know Napa Valley One Academy, we do provide the support to all our students beyond the kit. So Stephen, would you like to talk about how the instructor can help our student improve during their WSET journey and now with the taste coach?
Sure. So all of our courses do have a designated, or WSET courses do have a designated instructor. All of them are amazing people and very good instructors as well, which is great. Very supportive, very knowledgeable, very helpful. With the Taste Coach, this enables you to do this at home, or no pressure kind of thing, which is great for those that don't. Sometimes people feel like they're judged with their tasting, which I think is a mistake. I don't think our instructors don't judge people. They're very nice about these kinds of things. But with this, some people might like it for that reason, that you're not being, not having someone to be judged at all. With that said, for those that do like the idea of Taste Coach, you might want to buy a kit or have several people potentially buy kits. We do have an added extra where you can basically have one of our instructors jump in and sort of give you more of a guided tasting alongside the taste coach.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really important to know that your instructors, they're there to support you. I reached out to my instructors so many times during when I was preparing for my exam, and then their insight for the study tips, exam tips, and also tasting tips were really helpful and really helped me build the confidence when I was doing my exam. So yeah, thank you, Stephen.
Thanks, Serena. Always a pleasure.